a standard has been set. Ruben Amorim has set the standard for Manchester United, and Manchester United must raise the tide at the club and play like that every single week because they were simply sensational. Ruben Amorim, the best performance that I've seen from Manchester United for ages. It was a genuine, delectable medley of footballing splendour. It was an outrageously good game. It was just perfect. Like, football's unrivaled, isn't it? It is unmatched, and quite simply, Manchester United today were sensational. We know how good Liverpool are. We know that Liverpool are the best side in the country. In fact, scrap that. Liverpool are the best side in Europe. But Manchester United, a team that are totally in disarray, a team that are languishing in the bottom half of the Premier League table, and a team that the new manager has recently discussed the potential of relegation. This should have been so one-sided. This should have been a mismatch. But Manchester United didn't allow that to happen because today they shone. Today they played for the badge on their chest. They played for the men dressed in black in that away end. They were simply sensational. And by the end, they matched Liverpool. And by the end, they deserved to win the game. Potentially, at least. Whether they deserve to win it or not, that could be a little bit extreme. But a draw was certainly within their clasp, and they could have won it. That moment at the end when Joshua Zirkzee goes through, squares the ball poorly to Harry Maguire, gives him such a bobbly pass. And ultimately, Harry Maguire skies it. Look, people are going to talk about the Maguire miss. Ultimately, it comes down to this. Harry Maguire missed an open goal in front of the away end at the Anfield Road. But it's so much more complex. Firstly, I believe Joshua Zirkzee should have taken it on. I believe Joshua Zirkzee, being a forward player, needs to take the responsibility, needs to take the mantle, needs to not pass the responsibility to a centre-half. Secondly, if you are going to pass the ball, don't bobble it across. I mean, come on. Why does he square that? And look, I think he has to have a go at the end. Maybe the reason he didn't was because of the way that the home fans treated him recently. That has to have an impact. I mean, the way that Manchester United fans booed him earlier this week, it is going to have an impact on his decision-making. But I think he needs to take it on. I think he needs to have the confidence to have the shot. And imagine if he had scored. What a week that would have been. What a turnaround. What a changeover. But he didn't. Imagine that, though. Imagine that. In that away end, you know, when time stands still. I'm sitting next to Adam McCullough on the club, right? Time stands still. There is that penny dropping can be heard. Just as the ball comes across. Zirkzee linking up with Harry Maguire. The most unlikely attacking duo playing for Manchester United, linking up at Anfield, about to win the game in the last minute with the last kick. The drama, the histrionics, the jeopardy. It was so good, wasn't it? If only on some level he had been able to ping it in, it would forever be known as the Harry Maguire moment. It would become iconic. Wayne Rooney's goal for Manchester United at Anfield, Juan Mata's brace. We can remember so many. John O'Shea. We can remember so many amazing goals that happened in those fixtures. And Harry Maguire would have etched his name in Manchester United folklore if the pass had been a little bit better. Imagine that. Harry Maguire hitting a winner for Manchester United at Anfield for the first time since 2016, when the winner was scored by Wayne Rooney himself. For Manchester United, that would have been the perfect afternoon. It wasn't quite perfect, but it was about as close to being perfect as perfect can be. Because Manchester United, they turned up. They were full of tenacity. They were full of aggression. They were full of spirit. They listened to their manager. And considering that they went into that game off the back of a consecutive, 4 defeats? A run of consecutive defeats, 4 in a row. 3 of them in the Premier League. I mean, that genuinely left Ruben Amorim speaking about the possibility of relegation. There was only one winner. I thought that this was going to be one of those historic games of football where Liverpool scored goals for fun. You know, Erik ten Hag put 11 men behind the ball last year, but the year before his team conceded 7. I felt like today could have been something similar to that, but it wasn't. And Manchester United finally scoring goals at Anfield, the first goals that they've scored at Anfield for 7 years. But my God, it was a rousing performance. It was a truly brilliant performance. And that is the best I've seen Manchester United play for ages. That is the best that Manchester United have played this season. That is the best that Manchester United have played under Ruben Amorim. That is the best that Manchester United have played for absolutely ages. Look, they've still obviously got work to do. They're 13th in the league. They're in the bottom half of the Premier League table. They are still quite clearly struggling. But Ruben Amorim has seen in that performance that his players can do what he needs them to do. His players are capable. His players are capable of understanding the way that the game needs to be managed. understanding of how to adopt his philosophy, understanding of how to adopt his instruction. And what tells us a huge story is that Ruben Amorim was actually annoyed. He was annoyed about that result. He was annoyed about that performance because it left him questioning why Manchester United could be so good in one of their hardest away games in the season, one of their hardest games of the season, going to Anfield to play that way. Why on earth can't they play like that I was going to say against a particular team, but basically against anyone, Newcastle, whoever it is? Why can't they play like that every week? If they did play with that level of intensity, that level of tenacity, that level of spirit, they would not be where they are. They were brilliant. They can do what their manager needs them to do. They can stick to their positions. They can play with discipline. They can outfight an opposition. They can outfight one of the best teams in Europe. They can play with the relevant amount of passion. They can play with the relevant amount of spite. They were excellent. They concentrated hard. They scored goals. They went for the jugular. They were just brilliant. And they have now done it away at Anfield and they've done it away at the Etihad. You know the way that Amad Diallo's goal, that Diallo derby, will forever be known as that. Maguire had his moment. And what a way to do it. You know when Lisandro Martinez scored that goal? Lisandro Martinez's goal. I mean, Alexander-Arnold, my God. I mean, wow. Real Madrid will be looking at that thinking that they need to sign a Liverpool fullback, but maybe it's Conor Bradley. That was atrocious. But Lisandro Martinez channeling his inner Ryan Giggs. It was Ryan Giggs against Arsenal at Villa Park, wasn't it? Don't you think? It was exactly like he needed to take his shirt off and go swiveling it around his head with demonstrating his really hairy chest. That's how good it was. It was shades, echoes, a homage to Ryan Giggs' goal at Villa Park in that semi-final. It really did make me think of that moment. It was amazing. But my God, how lazy was the defending from Trent Alexander-Arnold? It was just all over the place. And the away end went potty. That away end fell. Limbs. It was just a joy to behold. I love seeing that. Local derbies, hostility between the fans. I just love it so much. And that is why that game was a delectable medley of footballing splendour. It really was that good. And that performance was undoubtedly Manchester United's best, Manchester United's most effective, Manchester United's most composed, Manchester United's most together, Manchester United's most harmonious performance under Amorim. It really, really was. And I tell you what, I don't believe that there is any jeopardy in Liverpool winning the league. I think that ultimately they'll look back on this. They've got the Manchester United game out the way. When Liverpool play Manchester United, it's always one of their hardest games of the season. They've taken 4 points off Manchester United this season. They will get this game out the way. They don't have to worry about United again this season in the league, and they can focus on winning the league. And I believe that they will. But if you are maybe an Arsenal fan, maybe a Man City fan, I think that you could be looking 6 points behind. I know they've got a game in hand, but ultimately it's 6 points behind. Is there a world where the title race is open? Not in my opinion. I can't see Liverpool dropping the requisite points. I think that overall, they didn't lose the game. And like I said, when Liverpool went away to St James's Park and they got that 3-3 draw, I positioned that as a good point. I think that today, the way that Manchester United played, I think that they should position this as a good point. But I wonder if Arsenal fans, Arsenal's players, if Declan Rice looking at this, is Declan Rice looking at it going, maybe the title race is there. Maybe there is something there. But I don't personally see it. But today, given the form of the two teams, given the recent form of the two teams, I think everybody went into this fixture thinking that it just had a Manchester United battering written all over it. I honestly didn't think that there was any chance that United weren't just going to get a good hiding. I really didn't. But ultimately, it became one of the best games that I've seen this season. And Amorim looking at that, he has to be so happy with his team. They weren't passive, they were fighters. They were warriors. Ugarte, gladiatorial. Genuinely gladiatorial. Harry Maguire, an absolute warrior at the back. I thought Bruno Fernandes had an excellent game, I really did. I thought that he was so intricate, such quick feet, such beautiful feet he's got in those moments. Those tight moments when there isn't really anyone to play to. He finds a way, he really is brilliant. And they have these players now who are putting their necks on the line, fighting for the shirt, fighting for the badge on the chest, fighting for that away and fighting for the fans that are watching all around the world. And they also have a little bit of quality. Amad Diallo is an excellent footballer. When Garnacho come on, I thought he looked a real threat. And, if they just had someone that could finish, like Højlund. I feel like he looks for fouls more than he looks for the back of the net. Doesn't really feel like he's up for it in the proper way. But, I mean, from a Liverpool perspective, they've got the game out of the way. Just Alexander-Arnold, man. I mean, Real Madrid will genuinely be having second thoughts about that today. Dalot. I don't rate Dalot. I slate Dalot quite highly on a regular basis. Dalot had him sewn up. He made Dalot look great. And that isn't easy to do. But look, Liverpool have extended their lead back to 6 points, I suppose, today. Arsenal didn't capitalise yesterday, and you can make of that what you will. They do have a game in hand. The only problem from a Liverpool perspective is they're conceding goals. You know, earlier in the season, they were so miserly at the back. They didn't give you anything. Manchester United don't find it easy to score goals, and they've scored 2. So I think there is a slight worry, but I'm sure that Arne Slot will work it out. I'm sure that there will be tweaks, personnel tweaks, tactical tweaks, just to protect that back line a little bit. Konate, Van Dijk, it's the fullbacks now. It's the fullbacks. You know, Robertson isn't the player that he was. I thought he gave away needless fouls today. Really, really needless. And Trent Alexander-Arnold, I don't know if it's concentration or what, but he seemed distracted today. But I am sure that Arne Slot will get it right. If he does, I doubt there is a major problem for Liverpool to worry about. But the day belongs to Manchester United. You know, we can talk about Liverpool. They are the best team in the country. They are the best team in the league. They have so many goals galore, the best player in the league, the best defender in the league, the best keeper in the league. Liverpool are going to be just fine. But maybe today is the day that Manchester United are resurrected. Maybe today is the day. They needed that statement win. They needed that lift. They needed something that sets a standard, sets the tone. And Ruben Amorim today set the standard. Let's see how Manchester United get on now. I think they play Southampton next. They simply need to win that. I mean, they will win that game, but they simply need to. And if they can win it by playing like that, putting their necks on the line, fighting for one another, who knows where they could end up. Ruben Amorim, though, what a day. Take a bow, sir. You got it so right. And Bruno Fernandes, Harry Maguire, Manuel Ugarte. Warriors, man. Warriors. Beautiful game of football, beautiful rivalry, beautiful, love it, love football so much. It was good, wasn't it? I hope you're all having a wonderful night. Do me a favour if you've enjoyed this, give it a like, click subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. In a bit, yo.